get some conversations going for 2021. What are you thinking? How are you feeling? What are you struggling with? I mean, there's all sorts of interesting topics we could go down: the election and the business world and the economy. I mean, wherever you want to go with this. What's on your heart? What are you feeling?
Well, we have a black vice president who's a
Yes,
woman.
yes. Hallelujah.
That's cool. I mean, just thinking about like, damn, America, you bitch. Like it took us a million years to get us to
Yeah, yeah.
this point,
I know.
It's insane that you know, of course all the black people are excited, but how I feel about it is this. So many times we have these labels. Um, we're born into this world with these labels, these predefined
Categories.
um, stereotypes,
Yeah.
and it is a sight. Excuse me, it's a sight to see, to have her there. It's just something to see. It's just something to be, I mean, celebrated,
Yeah.
because especially not even just black women, just women.
Yeah.
We
For
have
sure.
the. I'm actually studying. I'm in this course right now. Um, it is Social 120, ethics and social responsibility, and we talk about cognitive biases. We talk about implicit bias. We talk about obviously how to form an argument, and so the beginning of forming an argument is really trying to understand what are the ethical implications of what you're talking about.
Hmm.
What are kind of like the moral relative morality. So it's not always about you know uh, say for example guns are bad, right? In it it depends on who you're talking to, where you're talking to them in the
Yeah.
world. It
Yeah.
depends on the relative. It's not everything is not black and white, and I think that um, this country needs to understand that everything is not as it seems. It's not one big black and white society. People have thoughts and beliefs ingrained into their brain from the very beginning. Because when you're born, you're just a blank slate. You are nothing. And it's the people who raise you that get you to believing and thinking the things that your beliefs, right?
Yeah.
When you become 21, when you become an adult.
Yeah. No,
And
I love this, man. And this is why, I want to have more conversations with you. It's why when we first shot that first video, there's something in me that's like wants to help you propel
yeah,
your voice or the things
thank
that you're
you.
saying, because the way that you think about things is, honestly, it's really rare. It's hard to find a conscious person. The way I say it is that we need to be able to discuss things in their entirety. And that I think the culture that we live in, it's like, well, it's this. Capitol Hill was a really interesting thing,
Oh,
because
yeah, we could talk about that too. That's
I know
great.
we could get into so much, and there's so many problems. There's so many problems. I think with the race thing, with the economy, with COVID, like there's so many things happening, and I think that when we try to boil it down to like it's just this, that
It's
we
never.
divide people more, and that was something that inspired me so much about you, because in the heat of it, when the riots were happening right after the George Floyd killing, right after that, the answers that you had about going inward and really checking ourselves, it just struck me. I haven't heard anybody else say that. And it was inspiring, because, who knows how to react to those things.
Yeah, thank
And
you. I appreciate that.
yeah,
I really enjoy talking to you too, and you know, um, it's just and that is the, in my opinion, that's the way, right? Like, so just having the conversations. It's not about always being right. It's not about barking when somebody says something you don't necessarily agree with. It's hard. It's hard to do that because there's a lot of
yeah,
people out here who are staunch believers of certain things, and you question why, right? Why do you believe this stuff? Well, because I was raised like that. Okay, well, why did they believe it? And why did they believe it? And why
right,
did they believe it? And it
100%.
just goes on and on. Because what is the origin of all of this stuff?
Yeah.
And just for me to see her up there and just have a woman, again,
Yeah.
about that implicit bias, having a woman in a position of true power, um, it disseminates all of these beliefs, right? Women aren't smart enough. Women aren't capable enough. Women aren't assertive enough. Women aren't able enough or cunning enough or witty enough to hold these positions. It's a lie. It's just not the truth.
Yeah.
You don't just happen to have the experience that she has had. She worked for that. You know what I'm saying? And she did her job. Um, so it was just cool to see that. It was cool to see President Obama and Michelle Obama there, you know, obviously, our forever first lady, all the black girls like Michelle Obama, thank you. To see her there and to see all of this, just to see the tides shifting. Now, I don't expect her to Kamala to, or Madam Vice President. I don't expect her to, they had this savior complex with President Obama. He
Yeah.
supposed to save America. He
Yeah.
gonna just how the how is that even supposed to happen? Like, you can't
No.
even get your kids to do their homework. How do
Yeah,
you
I hear you.
expect one person to change America? Come on
Right.
now, that's
Right.
ridiculous. And we
Right.
put him on this pedestal and attributed all of our insecurities and all of our problems onto him. And when he didn't deliver these ridiculous expectations, then people wrote him off. But the fact is, he was a symbol of change. He was a symbol of what could be in America. But we have to, again, it's all about you. Like, you got to do something too. Like, you got to call your alderman. You have to put pressure on you. You don't even, people don't even know their alderman. They don't even know their, shit, I don't even know my alderman. It's like, how are you yelling to the top of your lungs at the highest level when you have an opportunity to go knock on somebody's door and demand change in your neighborhood
Yeah.
where you live,
See,
to get your streets fixed, to get your lights
oh,
fixed.
it's
You know
so
what I
good.
mean?
Yeah, I agree with you so much. I agree with
It's
you so much.
like, bruh,
It's so
and you
important. The
yelling.
accountability. Absolutely.
Yes, you are
Absolutely.
yelling to the White House. You live in California. I just don't understand. So, it was good to see. It was good to see. You know, I, I have learned to allow these politicians to, put their own foot in their mouth. I'm not going to, again, believe that she's going to change everything or President Biden's going to change everything. That's not how it works. We've had, this country is very, it's a young country, but it's been here for quite a while. And we can't expect things to happen overnight. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Just like you can expect personal behavioral changes in yourself to happen overnight, you definitely can expect, the country to change overnight. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
And especially
I
with,
think the role models too. I think the role model is such a beautiful thing because I think in mainstream culture, and I talk to my kids about this all the time, my students, is if you kind of leave it up to whoever, like if especially a child, young child, ethnicity, whatever,
Mhm.
whatever young person, if you kind of leave it, you give them a cell phone, you let them go on the internet, and you say, here, go search around and find some stuff. The person that they find to follow or the person that they think is cool is probably not going to be that great of a role model. And that's one of the beautiful things about this presidency is that it opens up another avenue for role model for people of color or people not of color. To be able to see that, wow, somebody, anybody can get there, anybody can do that. Like that role model, like regardless of the politics, regardless of the policies and what may or may not happen because of the administration, it's amazing that somebody could look at that person and say, wow, I can do that, because I
Yeah.
feel like we're missing that so much.
Yes.
We're,
And even,
we glorify the wrong things.
oh, for even like Joe Biden, he's the oldest president. Even ageism, right? So people feel like they can't do certain shit because they're too old, or
Right,
it's
100%.
just so many. It's so many layers of society that
Limitations.
right, and that we
Hmm.
need to just have, at the end of the day, it is, the majority. So the country was built by white men, and so they created rules to suit their
Hmm.
lifestyles, which makes
Hmm.
sense. I mean, if it's nothing but a bunch of men in the room, you're gonna talk about men issues.
Hmm.
If especially if you don't have other representatives, you know what I mean, in the space. And so now that we have women in the room, now that we have older people in the room, now that we have, people of color in the room, or people with disability, physical disabilities, it's just, we have to create an America that is reflective of the people that live here. It's not just about the white man anymore. It's not just
100%.
about the white woman. It's not just about one singular type of person. It's about, the emotional intelligence. You know what I'm saying? Like, how are y'all even
Yeah.
coming up with this shit? What are y'all? What like? Where are the conversations starting?
Yeah.
Are the conversations starting on this is what I want, or is it about the people that you know, your constituents?
Yeah, one of my
Um,
favorite ways I've heard it said is that we're all on the same team. And if we're truly all on the same team, like if we're really working together in this thing, then you would want even the person who's the worst off, the homeless person, the person with disabilities, the person with mental health issues. You would want everybody to be doing well because we're all on the same team here. So why are we not worried about one group or the other group or certain circumstances or certain income ranges? Why are we not worried about them doing well? If we're really on the same team, like, hey, why would you want your teammate to not be doing well?
yeah, it's like you're only as strong as your weakest link, and
100%.
you cannot. It's just you just do yourself a disservice when you only think about yourself, and it, it is um, making decisions from your own perspective of to serve yourself. I get it. Everything is not, you know, if if you continue to make decisions based on other people, that might not be a good thing. But then if you, on the other side, if you continue to make decisions only with you in mind, not always good. So having that balance and approaching every situation with a clear mind. You cannot, again, that cognitive bias, that those decision making skills that we don't really talk about. How are you
Mm.
making decisions? You know what I'm saying? Like what um, you know, it's like because this happened to me before, then this is how I'm going to go about every other situation. If I was attacked in New York City on the street, then I'm always going to be walking around thinking somebody's going to attack me.
That's, yeah, it's PTSD in a
Versus,
nutshell.
right, versus, you know, reframing the incident. You know what I'm saying? And understanding that every new situation is a opportunity for you to learn something new. It's an opportunity
100%.
for you to see something new, feel something new, hear something new. So, just this idea of, just humans, we just on autopilot. It's I feel like it's rare people take the time to just think about the moment.
Yeah.
Like if we would,
Presence.
you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's
Yeah, I do.
just
Absolutely.
it's
I
really
was thinking the same thing earlier. I was thinking we're growing up, we're in the beginning 8 stages, but it seems like we've been in it for a long time of the influencer age. Everybody's got a YouTube channel. Everybody's got a million followers. Not everybody, but a lot of people have a million followers, a couple 100,000 followers, whatever. Instagram page, Pinterest, blogs, whatever. So we have all these people that have this influence, and you have the people that are following, especially kids. Like I really feel for youth right now because it's got to be confusing as hell. I have I know one of my best friends, little brothers, what grows up. He's growing up. He's watching YouTube a lot. He's on the computer all the time, and he's watching YouTube and he's watching these cop videos of these cops that are like breaking down these things happening with people, and he's like hardcore defending the cops. Like the cops are right. They should be doing this, and I'm like, whatever. I don't know. I didn't see the video, but what do you think? You know, because
yeah.
and that's where it comes back to like not living in the moment, not actually thinking for ourselves. Is you're following this blog or this YouTube channel and you're ingesting all this information, but what do you think about the situation?
Yes,
What do you think about what's happening in the
that
country?
is the biggest
Why do you think that? I wish that conversation was happening more because, you know, we're parroting the things that we hear on the news or the podcast or whatever. And then it's like, no, but hold on. What do you think? And why do you think that? Because this person thought that, but hopefully they thought that out. That's the whole point. Like, we're supposed to be thinking for ourselves. Who do you want to be? Why? Uh, uh, it blows me
It's
away.
frustrating. No, it is frustrating to see people just copy and paste. It's the
Yeah.
copy and paste society. Nobody's actually having any critical thought, any discourse. Everything that you think or that you know comes from somebody else's mouth, and you're
100%.
just regurgitating and vomiting out. And but where, like you said, what do you think?
Hmm.
Like when you wake up in the morning, what are you thinking? Like,
Yeah.
are you already reaching for your phone? I had to
100.
train myself to stop doing that shit
Yeah.
because as soon as I open my, as soon as I come into this conscious space of life and I'm reaching my phone to absorb more information, why? I didn't even fucking drink no water yet. Brush my teeth. Like, what is the
Yeah.
rush
Yeah.
to just go? Just go.
Hmm.
No, no. And and when I first started doing that, I don't always do it because life, but when I first started doing it, there was a sense of anxiety, like I'm missing some shit. Like
Yeah.
I'm missing
100%.
something.
Yeah.
I'm missing something. Like, and I said, whoa, whoa, no, this is not the type of life you're trying to live, sis. Like, put the phone away. I'll put my phone on the top of the refrigerator. I'll put my phone, like away, like, so I can break the cycle of this automatic reaching. As soon as I'm bored of something, I gotta reach for some shit. I gotta get my
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
no. When I get bored or when I have some quiet time where there's nothing else for me to do, I just sit down and just be I just be looking like, okay, I'm alive. Like,
Yeah.
because this society will trick you into thinking that you need to be doing something every second of the fucking day. Like, no, like
Hmm.
what? That's
Hmm.
weird when you actually think about it. And you think about the anxiety that's induced when you can't find your phone or when you or your
Might
phone dies
miss a text. Somebody
or
call
you
me.
it's insane. It's
Yeah.
insane,
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, and we live in a world where, you know, there's so many different notifications. I mean, that just that idea of not checking your phone when you wake up. I'm 28 now. When I was 20, I was listening to a podcast and this guy was talking about the very same thing. It was like the beginning, like Stone Age of podcast. And he was talking about the very same thing of that we wake up and we go into this like reactionary whirlpool where you wake up, you check your
Mm,
phone and
mm,
you got a text. Oh, I feel good. My girl texted me. My guy texted me. Oh, I feel good. Oh, look at the news. Now I'm feeling down. And it's like it's all this reactionary whirlpool. And one thing that helped me so much was wake up and sit at a book and just write. Sit with a spiral notebook, pen, whatever, and just write because it's one of the only times during the day that those are the most original thoughts you can have. How do
I'm gonna
you
start doing
feel?
that.
You
That's
woke
nice.
up clear. Don't check your phone. Don't look at the TV. Don't do anything. Just check in with yourself right then and there. Because the second you check something, now it's, I got a tweet. Oh, that looks cool. That's stimulating. What's this
Yes,
person doing?
yes,
TikTok. Oh shit.
yes,
You know,
yes,
that's
yes.
such a big unlock. And that's such a theme for me. You know, like what are you thinking?
Mm,
How are you
mm,
feeling?
mm,
How can we get to the bottom of that? Because that's stimulating everything. That's stimulating the
mm,
racism or all the isms, all the
mm.
stuff that you mentioned. All that's underneath there. Where's that coming from?
Yes, that's good. Another
Yeah.
thing I started doing, because sometimes writings in my mind, it seems cumbersome. It seems
Hmm. Slow.
there's this process, this pattern that I go through when I think about writing. So what I started to do was just record
Oh
myself,
yeah.
my notes. And so especially if I'm having a hard time or if or if I'm having a good time, I like to reflect. And instead of writing it down, I started recording myself, talking to myself, um, just because I'm obsessed with like moments. I'm obsessed with it could be my line of work, but I really do enjoy capturing the moments in life that mean something to me. I'm not the type to like if I'm at a concert or something, I'm not on my phone. I might take a picture to capture the moment. I call it my what do I say? My personal archive. That's what I say.
Yeah.
I say, this is for my personal archive. I'll tell my friends like I ain't posting this or nothing. This is just for me. And but I like to be in the moment. I really, really do because I was reading one of my books. Where is it? It's over there. It's called Mindfulness in Plain English. It's by Henny Polo Guanaratana, I believe is his name. And he is a Buddhist monk. And he talks about, as you're reading it's written in the book, as you're reading this book right now, you are getting older. This book is getting older. The walls in your house are getting older right now. We don't take the time to recognize time, this
Yeah.
construct of time. We wait 5 years to see the building collapse or the book disseminate or become so crusty and rusty you can't even open the book. But it's life is happening right now.
Yeah.
Like, tune into that. Like, go take a fucking walk. Like, go outside,
Yeah.
go feel the sun on your face, and just notice how you feel. Notice the warmth, the heat. Notice, your fingers and all of these things. And like, life becomes such a much richer experience when you can just take a moment to just see what's up. You know what I'm saying? And not to fix anything, not to change anything, but just to notice what's happening to you. Notice how you're feeling. Notice what's going around you, tuning into the sounds around you, Um,
What do you think makes that hard for people? What do you think? Because this is, what you and I are saying is a lot of people are saying it. There's a lot of take a breath, mental health days, take a bath, go work out, go for a walk. What do you think makes it hard for people to believe in that or to do it?
um, because people are so sleep, they don't even know that they're asleep.
Yeah.
They're so they don't even know that there is another way to live. They don't know that there is a higher level of consciousness that you can tap into, and you can observe you living your life, but you can still be a part of your life.
Mm-hmm.
You can it's like everybody wants to be distracted. People are craving distractions because all of the things in your head, all of the trauma, all of the things that you think make you a bad person, it's really just your human brain doing what it does. It's
Mm-hmm.
thinking. That's the whole function of the brain, to go, to think on autopilot.
Yeah.
And so I think that it frightens people. It gives people a little, it's a little weird to acknowledge your own thoughts,
Yeah.
because there is a lot of trauma. There is a lot of, I don't know if trauma is the right word. I think there is a lot of, past experiences that we are not comfortable with, that we want to suppress, that we
Mm-hmm.
want to distract ourselves from because they hurt so bad.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure.
And we don't want to deal with it. We think that by dealing with it, it's going to make it worse. But the truth is, by dealing with it, it empowers you so that you know that you have the skills to conquer the next issue, because there will be another issue. That life is happening right now. And the only way to, not the only way, but a good way to go through the journey of life is to recognize that it is a journey, to recognize that you don't know what is going to happen tomorrow, and to give credit to the fact that you have gotten yourself this far. Whether you've been lying, pimping, cheating, and stealing, you still have made it here. And so you can trust yourself to make it to the next thing. But things happen to us that are so devastating that we fall into these ruminations, this depressive thoughts, these patterns, and we can't get ourselves out of it. And so rather than do all of that, just ignore everything. I'm
Yeah.
just going to ignore everything. I'm just going to not have the tough conversations. I'm not going to admit my vulnerability. I'm not going to admit that I'm wrong. God forbid I admit that I'm wrong. Oh, like that is so hard for people. It was hard for me. It is still hard for me, but I've learned that admitting that you're wrong is admitting that you're a human,
Yeah.
because it's really, when you think about it, it's really insane to think that you know what to do at every turn in your life and you haven't lived tomorrow. Like, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. The only thing you can do is count on the things that you have already gone through.
Yeah, and nobody knows
And
what they're doing. Like I put out a
nobody
video.
knows.
I
Nobody
put out a video like a
knows.
year and a half ago of and I was at a video shoot in a boxing gym that they closed down for us. My team was there and we had a video guy and the whole thing. And I was like, I need to put something down. And I'm sitting there and everybody's watching, like, what the hell is he doing? I put the stool right in the middle of this boxing ring. And I made this video about like, I don't know anything. You know, there's all these people standing around, got these lights on me, this camera. And I'm like, I felt like crazy imposter in that moment. I was like, I don't know anything. Like nobody knows what they're doing. We want to act like it. You want to be on LinkedIn with your headshot and your thing, and you looking good, and you got it all together, and your blog post, and your podcast just came out. Like nobody knows what they're doing. Like, everybody's doing the best they can do for that day, and they're gonna fuck up, but they're gonna not, or they're gonna do well. But you know, it comes and goes. Like nobody knows what it is or how to figure this thing out. Nobody has any idea. We're just doing the best we can.
Yeah. One of my favorite quotes is, life is a symphony of highs and lows.
Yeah.
And the analogy was, if you take a picture of the California coastline, you can see the way it just moves back and
Mm-hmm.
forth inland and out
Mm-hmm.
into the water, then back in. And that's really all it is. And if we just accept that part, that it's going to be days when you are on cloud nine, and it's going to be days where you can't even get out of bed, and accept that, the acceptance piece is another thing that I think we have a hard time, because we are attached to these outcomes.
Yes.
We're
Trust.
attached to these ideas that we should be doing this at this age. I should have been, shoulda, coulda, woulda. And when things don't happen like that, we take it to heart, and we prevent ourselves from moving forward because we can't accept the reality of what's happening. We are steady trying to grasp these
Yeah.
situations, and it's like,
Yeah.
uh
Well, especially everything's changing now too. You know, most of the standards that we put up were built 30 years ago. You have a college degree, like this. I graduated in 2010, so it was like, just go to college, get a degree, and you'll be good. Just get a degree. And I was like, that doesn't seem right for me. I never went to college. I'm probably not going back. And we're still holding people to these standards, especially parents. Parents killing me right now because your kid doesn't have everything figured out by 22. Well, like nobody in the world has everything figured out right now. We're divided as a country. There's a political thing, there's a race thing, there's the economy, there's COVID. You want your kid to have life figured out by 22?
and you don't even know what the fuck, like,
Yeah, 100%.
it's okay. But I will say, I think COVID, I think 2020 just stopped all of it. I think that 2020 um sat people down
Yeah.
to ask themselves, what are you doing
Mm-hmm.
for real?
Mm-hmm.
What are you really doing?
Mm-hmm.
What are you actually doing every day when you wake up? For
Yeah.
real, like,
Yeah.
you running yourself ragged every morning for what?
Mm-hmm.
You going to a job you don't really like. You talking to friends you don't really like. You're married to somebody you don't really like.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really like your fucking kids for real. Like, what are you doing? And how can you stop doing that and do what you really want to do?
Yeah.
Do what you're passionate about, not because somebody told you what they think you should be doing, your parents, namely. I think you should be a doctor. Like, I don't want to be a doctor. I want to play at the symphony orchestra. I don't want to be a doctor. But it's so much pressure put on us, and we are too afraid to say no. too afraid of the consequences, too afraid of being ostracized, too afraid of being put aside, which I get because humans, we are a communal species. So we do like to be around each other,
Hmm.
but at what cost? You know, it's like, no, I don't think I want to do this no more. And
Yeah.
that's okay. Like, I'm just, but this also has a lot to do with my upbringing because my mother made it very clear you can do whatever it is you want to do. Now everybody don't have that experience. Everybody don't have a mom that says, I change my mind every 5 fucking minutes. She's like, okay, Gabby, I trust you, but
Yeah.
you have money to eat,
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
like I have this this belief deeply embedded in the back of my mind under all of my shit that I can do it. And a
Yeah.
lot of folks don't have that inner dialogue,
Yeah. Well, I
and
mean,
that's
we
that
get
might
into
be
the
another thing.
where we get into the parenting and we start getting into parents that didn't take the opportunity to chase their dream. Now maybe they're subconsciously trying to keep their kids down because they
Ooh,
feel the resentment for themselves. Like it
ooh,
goes down a really nasty rabbit hole. But I mean,
wow,
what
that's scary.
yeah, it is. It's incredibly scary, and then the kid ends up. So let's say you have I've experienced this. Let's say you have a kid that really wants to be an artist. They want to be a singer. The parent doesn't see that as a stable road, so they're scared for their kid, right? I don't know anybody that's made it in music. Music industry tears people up. How the hell are you going to do that? No, you should go to college. College is safe, you know. So the kid listens to their parents. They're like, yeah, you're right. Nobody makes it in music. I shouldn't do that anyways. I'm gonna go to school. So they go to school, they get a bachelor's in whatever, they go and they get a job, they're working in an office, they make 40,000 a year, they can pay their rent. Now they're in it. The amount of resentment that kid builds up for their parents in the long run because they didn't, they ultimately, shot themselves in the foot trying to listen to their parents and trying to make that person happy, but understanding that they may have wasted, some of the best years of their life to be able to take advantage of that opportunity. And, what if I was the next Lady Gaga? What if I was the next Adele? I don't never know. That's where I keep encouraging people. I'm like, you can always come back. You got time. You can always come back to whatever it is that you want to do, but
Yes,
you got time. Like chase the dream, chase the
yes.
thing. Like go find out. Because when I'm 50, I don't want to look back and go like, well, at least I slept a lot
Coulda,
and
woulda,
went to a lot of parties. Yeah, I would have exactly.
shoulda, coulda, woulda. You know, I do want to talk about the Capitol building because
Please
I think it's important to
air it
um,
out. Don't hold it back.
I and trust me, I don't. But it's just like, because somebody else asked me about this because I'm a veteran. And for so long, I've been telling people I think I may have mentioned this to you, but like, there's this idea that there is no racism in the military
Mm,
because we all bleed blue. That's what people
yeah,
like to say in the Navy.
yeah. No sexism either.
Right. And I'm like, "Well, excuse me?
Yeah.
Half of the people, not half, some of the people, some of the most gung ho people that were at the Capitol riots were in the military. They
Did you
had
did you
it
know
was it was called
there was one lady that died? She was
yeah,
from San Diego
she was in the Navy.
Air Force. Is she Navy or Air Force?
Or
She was military.
I can't remember. Maybe Air Force, maybe Air Force.
Yeah.
But um there was another group that the FBI, ended up talking about, the peacekeepers or something, honor, something, I can't remember their name, but it was like a group of, I say 12 of them that were on their radios like, this is what we've been training for.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Militia type. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And I said, duh, like y'all didn't, why people act like this is all new?
Uh-huh.
This ain't new. These when first of all, when you recruit, you don't recruit from the cream of the crop. You're recruiting in low income neighborhoods. You're recruiting in bubble fuck Texas. You're recruiting in communities and places where people are hopeless, despair. That's where you're getting the military from. So We ain't picking the best and the brightest of American society,
Well,
first of all.
it's like any organization too. There's some horrible people in every single organization you pick, and there's some amazing people in every single organization you pick. A corporation, the special forces, wherever we're at, incredible and terrible.
It's and the military has a very special recipe because of the secrecy. That's what I think is the most, it's like the catalyst. It's like just that flame, because we have our own governing systems, we have our own courts, we have our own public affairs units, we have our own investigative units. So why not be a motherfucking racist? Why not be an extremist? Come on.
Yeah.
You get access to guns, you get access to top quality training, you get access to, depending on your job, all type of information that you wouldn't otherwise have been privy to. Fuck it. I'm in there. You get to go to, the bases are in the worst parts of the country, in the most low income areas, Fort Hood, all of these places. It's nothing around these places but crime and corruption. And you just you tear down the grass and you plant a military base, and you bring 5,000 of the nation's shittiest people, and you train them on how to shoot guns, and you train them on how to, infiltrate shit. So this idea that everybody was so surprised that the Capitol riots had Army veterans, Navy veterans. I mean, people. One of the guys that was the lead for this militia thing I just brought up was 66 years old, retired Navy captain and some shit. First of all, bro, like, you 66, you still mad as hell about what? Come on, man. And it's just such a, I honestly thought, like, wow, this is really crazy. Like, this is some wild third world country type ish. It's like, is this really America? But then, yeah, look at Black Lives Matter movement that happened over the summer, and all of the other things that have happened over the course of this country's existence. Now, I will say, I don't think it was that surprising or wrong for those people to fight for what they believe in, because
See, this is why I love.
I mean, you should.
Yeah, and it's interesting.
You should fight for what you believe in. But what are you fighting for?
Right. And this is
what
interesting.
Are you fighting for?
You're educating me, because I haven't been in the military.
What are you fighting for?
Yeah.
I think you should absolutely, because again, there is that, what we talked about before. You can't expect somebody to give up something that you're not willing to do, right? So you can't expect no Capitol riots, no protesting, but then you have the Black Lives Matter movement over here fighting and burning down buildings. The thing is, both of these parties are fighting for something that they believe in. At what cost, though? What are you fighting for?
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter movement was fighting for racial justice and inequality and the obvious mistreatment of Black and brown people. What y'all fighting for?
Yeah, it's interesting. I would love to hear your perspective too, because a lot of the argument revolves around, well, they did it, so we can do it. With the attack on the Capitol building, it's like, well, what about the Black Lives Matter protests and they burned the building? Why are you mad? It's like, in my mind, it's like, we have to be able to think about two problems at once. You know what I mean? I think I'm curious your perspective, but there were aspects of both that were terrible.
Yeah.
There were aspects of both things that shouldn't have happened. And to just point to another group and say, well, they did it, and we did this and they did it worse. It's like, well, that doesn't get us anywhere, in my mind, I think.
No, it doesn't. I think that we need to look at the origins of, the mission. What are your list of demands?
What's our objective?
What is your objective, right?
Yeah.
Because it was very clear what the Black Lives Matter movement was for. It was very clear why Colin Kaepernick kneeled. It was very clear why, all of these there was an energy reverberated across the world when George Floyd died.
Yeah.
In Brazil, in China, in everywhere, people were marching for justice, racial justice, period. Across the world. It wasn't just the United States. Across the world, the energy was felt. But fuck are y'all doing? What's the mission?
Yeah.
What is the goal? What, and you know, Donald Trump, bro, you had one job. Like, come on, bro. Like, I never want to be a slave to my ego as much as this man is a slave to his ego. It's sad, actually, you know, to be so confused about what your role is in life. Like, you actually thought that saying we love you to this group of gang bangers storming the Capitol, what you but you, there was nothing that you can say, nothing positive about the Black Lives Matter movement.
What I think is interesting, what you said, coming back to, you know, everybody's going to fight for what they believe in. And we talked about people being unconscious or being asleep and not understanding why it is that they're fighting for what they believe in. And it's almost like it is their fault, but it's not their fault for what they believe in, because it comes from our parents and it comes from all these different things. Like I said, it's not an excuse in any way, but if we want to try to get to the root of the problem, we got to get to the root of the problem. And it comes back around full circle of thinking, like, you know, why are you in the military? Why are you a Trump supporter? Why are you a Black Lives Matter supporter? Why are you a Bernie supporter? Why are you a Biden supporter? Why are you a Kamala Harris supporter? You know, if we can get to those places and really have intellectual conversations around, like, oh, that's the way you see the world, and that's why, that's what I'm feeling. You know,
Yeah, and I heard, I listened to some very interesting, powerful Trump supporters speak about their position. And you know, my thing is, I'm here to listen, I'm here to learn, right? And so,
yeah,
you know, and he says something so powerful, and it's like, you can't. He said those people that stormed the Capitol, I don't know what they were doing. They were not a part of any mission of mine. They should be ashamed of themselves. They should go to jail. However, we cannot paint a broad brush of just because you see somebody wearing a Trump hat that they're an idiot or they can't think for themselves or, you know, whatever. And that's true. And that is a bias I have to get over, because when I see a MAGA hat, I'm like, you fucking idiot.
yeah,
Why are you supporting this egotistical, narcissistic, sexist, racist man? Wow. But that's not my place. What I need to work on is seeing people's their position. That's really that simple. You know, and you know, suppressing my emotions and or suspending my emotions just for the time to have a conversation about what policies. Now, people say that, like, you know, people who work in the fracking industry, they voted for Donald Trump because he promised some good stuff to come in that industry. Makes sense. If you're living in Kansas or wherever they do fracking and you trying to create a better life for your family, like all the rest of us are, then you're going to vote for somebody whose policies align with, you know, your livelihood. Makes sense, right?
yeah.
But I think it's just so hard to accept because of the immorality of Donald Trump. It's so hard to hear anything that he's saying because of his divisive techniques, because of the way that he goes about certain things. And I think that, you know, it's unfortunate because he did have good policies in place. My bank account went up. My stocks went up.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Life was good. But at what cost?
yeah, yeah,
What
100%.
societal, cultural cost Money? Come on.
Yeah. Yeah,
Come on.
that's the thing too, is and that's what I really care about. That's why I keep trying to like bring us back down to, like division of people. Because if there's anything that's terrible, it's division of people. I don't care who's doing it. I don't care which party it is or which group. Like,
Yeah.
we don't want to be divided. We don't want to look at each other and see some category instead of that person that has all the same, like, for the most part, we want the same shit. We want to be loved. We want to have some money. We want to have some kids, maybe. We want to have a good job. We want to be able to eat. We want to be able to go out to eat every once in a while. Like, both, we mostly want the same shit. Like it comes back to the team thing in my mind. And like, I get in way over my head with politics because I don't believe that the president's going to change my life. You know what I mean? But I do believe that the president's going to affect the society and the way that people believe that life is going to function. And like I said, I feel for kids in a big way right now, because they're the ones that are going to fall into the traps of seeing the categories and thinking this, or blue lives matter, or black lives matter. They're the ones that are going to become, fanaticized by these things.
Mm.
And what do we tell our kids? How do you grow? Like I'm a high school teacher, right? What do you tell an 18-year-old growing up in this environment?
Well, I actually talked to my nieces about it, and I asked them what they thought about what was going on. I asked them about, about what they thought about the protest. This was last year, yeah, around August.
Mm-hmm.
And, pretty plainly, I think it's bad.
Yeah.
I think I asked them, I was like, what do y'all think about, because Chicago, it was pretty rough, and they was people in the hood was like stealing wigs and shit. Like, girl, you waited until a racial uprising to go steal a motherfucking wig from the beauty supply. Like, that's really pushing the community forward.
Yeah.
But I asked them what they thought about it, and they was like, yeah, not my style, TT, not really kind of what I'm about. But they did express, from what I could tell, they understood what was happening. They understood why, but they didn't necessarily agree with the looting, and they didn't necessarily. Now, of course, they would love a fresh weave or whatever. Like, well, if you do something, send me a pack of hair. But overall, I think that they understood, like, this is not the way to do things. But what I would say, and to circle it back to the beginning, what do you think? This is really what it all boils down to.
That's what it all boils down to.
What do you think? Separate from what you think you're supposed to be thinking, separate from what you saw on TikTok, separate from, but just, have you read a book lately? Or like, have you sat down to engage in some critical thought about one topic? Just what do you think, and why do you think that, and why do you think that, and why do you think that, and what is informing your decision? That's what I think it's about, and having respect for the ideas and thoughts of other people, regardless of not if they align with yours, but just having respect for the human. A lot of the times we attribute somebody else's shortcomings to them, their person, and our shortcomings to some external resource, some external force. It's never us. It's something else out there. Yeah. But if you make a mistake, you're stupid. You know what I mean? Like that type of stuff, it's just, I think, there needs to be I think there needs to be money going towards the arts. I think there needs to be money going towards personal development, and, to lift the vibration of this society, period, on every level, right? Not just when you turn 32, now you want to study and start meditating and shit because you saw it looks cool.
Oh, no, man, I think from the very woke culture. Don't even start on woke culture.
Oh man, it's like everybody's woke, but nobody is like
The way I think about it is that if you claim that you're woke, but you're judging somebody else for not being woke, you're not really.
You're not really woke.
Yeah.
You're not really
Yeah.
woke. Everybody has their own journey, and I had to go through that too.
Yeah.
Judging other people's spiritual journey, judging other folks, yeah, their spiritual journey, and I read um, that if you think that somehow you are more spiritually evolved than somebody else, you need to
Mhm.
do some more work,
Yeah.
because that's not the point.
Yeah. That's the opposite of the point.
That's
The
the
opposite of the
opposite of being
yeah
spiritually evolved.
is to not have an ego, to not to want to be able to understand people and see them where they're at and be, oh, I see you. You were abused by your dad. Your parents were alcoholics. This happened to you. You didn't do well in school. You got bullied. You didn't have many friends. I see you. I see where you're at. It's not a matter of looking and saying, oh, you need to go meditate. You don't even meditate. Oh my God. Like,
Yes.
bro,
Oh my God, I used
you
to do
just
that. That
watch
was me.
Netflix. Oh my God, you're so simple. Like, no, no,
Oh,
no, no, no.
whew,
That's not the point.
that's really not. And that was me, because I thought that, I needed to, I thought that's what I needed to do, um, in order to, I don't know, and that took a lot of self reflection on my
Yeah,
end, to recognize that you pushing people away. You're not, oh, this is what meditate look like. Well, shit, I don't want to be like you.
yeah.
Like. But I think now, for me, it's hard. I'm a human, so I slip up. But I think that at the end of the day, we just, I think, there, like I said, needs to be more money invested into the arts. There needs to be bring band back, bring art class back, bring poetry back, bring,
Hmm.
yoga into the schools, and having, like, I was seeing, some of those reports that was circulating a few years ago about no more timeout people, or no more like detention. People were just doing meditation. Like, some of
Ooh,
the schools were adopting
that's
meditation
dope.
versus detention and everything,
Yeah.
for little kids. And that, I mean, anxiety starts so young, but we don't know that it's happening to our 5-year-old, our 10-year-old.
Yeah.
We just think they are weird or nerdy or geeky or
Man,
whatever the
listen,
case may be.
I was shy. When I was growing up, anxiety wasn't really a word, like people were talking about it, but in every conversation now, it's like, well, that gives me anxiety. Everybody's talking about anxiety. I was the most anxious kid. I didn't, fuck, man. I slept in my parents' bed till I was like 10. I wanted to like squeeze my mom's arm and her leg, and just like, I didn't want to go to school. I was terrified of everything. Like kids like develop anxiety at such a young age, and to be able to sit there with them and like, where does that come from? What's going on? How can we help the kid understand those feelings? Because it
Right.
took me until my early 20s to really be able
Yes.
to sit with it and think about, like, why am I so scared right now? I couldn't call
Yes.
somebody on the phone. You know what I mean? Like, pick up the phone and give somebody a call. I was terrified, real fear. you know and I agree with you so much on the arts. I think athletics too.
Yes. An
Young men.
outlet.
Yeah,
Just
young
let
men.
that energy go, especially little boys. All that
Yeah.
testosterone, like, come on, y'all.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
It
Well, I
needs to
mean,
be.
men perpetuate a huge proportion of the violence and the rape in the world, and it's like, what's going on with guys? Why are guys the ones doing this, by huge majority? 97% of the rape is men. What is happening with this portion of people? And I think that's gotten diminished a little bit by the male privilege and those kinds of conversations, and I feel for that. Like, I'm very aware that as a man, when I walk down the street and I see most other men, I'm not concerned in the way that a woman would be. I completely acknowledge that. But I think that by us just throwing male privilege in the face of everybody, we're completely disregarding, like, what is going on with guys. Why? Why?
Mhm.
Why is somebody's brother? Why is somebody's husband? Their father? Why are these things happening to these? These are other guys out there. They look just like me. We have the same, makeup for the most part. What's going on? Athletics, I think, is huge for guys. Let's what is it to be a real man? you know
Right.
how are we quantifying that? Is it fuck
Right.
bitches get money? Is it have
Right.
have a lot of cash? Is it how many
Yes.
girls can I sleep with? Is that what makes you a real
Yes.
man? Because you're still going to feel empty at the end of the day. And then you wonder why you're drinking. You wonder why you want to go fight the dude at the bar. You wonder why you still feel empty, even though, sorry, I'm ranting a little bit, but even
No, that's
though we hold up these things. And I was one of those guys. I chased that for so long. 23 years old, I bought myself a new Lexus. I was getting girls. I had money. I had my own business, but I felt empty and sad. And I was like, wait, hold on. I have all this stuff that everybody told me that I needed to have, but I still feel fucked up. What's happening here? And I can't imagine how many other guys it's happening to, and to be able to sit there and talk to them and be like, look, there are other things in our life that matter. And what does it mean to you to be a real man or a real woman for that matter?
yeah.
There's lots of things that young women are doing where I'm looking at, like nothing against OnlyFans, but OnlyFans accounts, like, is that really what you want to be doing? If it is, do you? Like, I'm happy about it. Like, I want you to live your best life, but is that really what you want to be doing? Or is that what somebody else has put in your head, the same way that we put things in guys' heads?
We can talk about this.
I know we're getting deep on time too. We could go all over the place.
Yeah.
We can cut it off. We can keep going, man. It's up to you.
Well, it's almost, we've been on here for an hour. Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna cut it for now, but
Okay.
we can do this. Please include
Yeah.
me. It's just, again, it's just about having these conversations. I know people keep saying that, but it really is. It's about having conversations, outside of your normal social structure, your normal social circles, in order to understand how people think, how to have a better world view of, life. It's not just about you. It's about how your actions affect the next person, whether they are 5 miles, 500 or 5,000 miles away. How, when you throw a damn plastic bottle in the ocean, that shit float over to Thailand and affect somebody. Like, we have to understand we are all connected. Everything you do affects somebody else, period. Everything you eat, somebody picked it. Having gratitude for that. Like, it's just everything, man, it's just living a life, moment to moment awareness. I think it would really help so many of us understand that we are all connected. When you realize that your actions affect other people, whether directly or indirectly, you might think twice about doing that thing. You might think twice about saying that. You might think twice about, whatever, buying that thing or not, whatever. We all connected. And I think that, it's so important now more than ever to recognize that we are all connected, and we are all, more alike than we are different, and I think, that would, if anything, that would be my closing statement, to just become aware, man. Just become aware of your life, the people in your life. Love yours, like J. Cole said. Love yours. Love what you got going on. Have some gratitude for your friends, your family, your spouse, your girl. You know what I'm saying? And just, just take some deep breaths, y'all. We can get through this.
It's a beautiful way to close it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'll hit you up again soon. Like I said, these are beautiful conversations. Thank you so much.
No problem. I'll talk to you soon. Tell Kelly I said hey.
I will. Take care of yourself.